Bonjour à tous, we are at Le Mans. Welcome to the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, Day 2, round number 7. We are here at Norbert Kirsch's home base here at Le Mans because he could be the champion after this race number 3. All he needs to do is score some more points than Jochen Hahn and Sascha Lance. Quite calm here it is. We saw Norby 2 seconds ago and he just went like, good morning everyone. So he's obviously in the good mood and we are too, and we're so glad that you are back joining us on our live streams. And yes, we are at Le Mans. As you can see, the sky is clear, the sun is shining, and we're hoping to see everybody in a good mood today. Everyone is working right now because we're ahead of the qualifying. Soon get started, and after the qualifying, of course, we got Super Pole. And as we noticed recently, Norbert Kirsch always gets good times at Super Poles. He's obviously heading for the Super Pole in pole position then to win race number 3. But history is not yet written down, so he needs to win just this race. Norbert, I was talking about you. Did you sleep well? You seem to be in a good mood.
Well, you know, yeah, we tried to sleep, but yesterday evening until 2 o'clock, it was the party going on, you know, just on the other side of the fence, so it was difficult, but we tried.
Without earplugs, maybe. We heard the party as well. It was spectacular being here in Le Mans with all the fans. The atmosphere is so special. How do you keep your concentration level high?
You know, I think we're pretty much in the zone, you know. It's been going well in the past weekends as well, and it was going well yesterday as well. So we are prepared, I think. So, you know, it's it's my job now to go out, you know, and do the best I can. And yeah, you know, I've also been preparing for this, you know, in the past years as well. So, you know, I think everybody knows what to do in the team. So we try to do the best we can.
You're currently challenging yourself. What do you do, for example, get the track in your mind again and riding it through during nighttime? Or what do you do ahead of such an important day?
You know, I think nothing special like that. You know, I mean, we've been coming here for racing, or I've been coming here for racing since 2011. So it's been 10 years. Because of COVID, that we race here every year in Le Mans. So, you know, I think we know the circuit really well. We know the requirements, we know the setup. I know how I like to drive on this circuit. So, you know, I think, like I said, I feel like we are really prepared.
Do you have a look, an eye on Sascha Lance and Jochen Hahn, or just keeping focusing on yourself?
No. Always keep a focus on ourselves. Obviously, we are looking at them. We are keeping an eye on them. That what are they doing, and if maybe we see, you know, some sudden big development, because in track racing it's possible, you know, because we have this really free technical regulation and free development, so you can change. Like everything overnight, you know, if you want to rebuild your track, you know, in whatever way you figure it out, you can do it overnight. There is no regulation against changing anything, and this is what makes track racing special, because it's also a development race between the teams. So of course we are keeping an eye on them, but not like so close that it would bother us, like, you know, this morning, you know. So day by day we concentrate on ourselves, but weekend by weekend we look at the others as well.
Absolutely, and we keep an eye on you. Thank you very much, Norbert Kirsch, for jumping into us, I would say.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Chaz Strakert, our English commentator, and Joachim Eberts, as you can see, the maybe-to-be champion today. He's quite in a good mood. Final setups here on the truck, and let's have a closer look, please, with you guys at the points and at the standings. And now we get the engine started. You too, please, Chaz and Joachim.
Thank you very much, Christina. Yes, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Le Mans. Welcome to the beautiful Le Mans Bugatti circuit. It's an absolute joy to be here, and it's a gorgeous Sunday morning here in the north of France. My name is Chaz Draycott, and I'm going to be talking you through today's action. And on a day that could potentially decide the championship, there's a great deal of anticipation in the air. The championship standings, though, are very, very, well, easily in the favour, I'm going to say, for Norbert Kish. There were other words I was going to use, but obviously I don't want it to be disrespectful to others in the series. But Norby has certainly made a fantastic example of it this year. He's got 13 race victories to his name and 18 appearances on the podium this year. 332 points gives him an 80-point advantage over Jochen Hahn, and Sascha Lenz is 90 points back. Now, in the championship, you can only score 60 points over a weekend. You get 20 for races 1 and 3, and then 10 for races 2 and 4. So all that Norby needs to do today is hold on to that points advantage over Jochen Hahn, and he could actually win it in this first race, so long as he scores just more points than Jochen, and that is it. Adam Lachko had a pretty decent day yesterday in the end, scoring a solid amount of points, with Antonio Albacete pretty much cemented in 5th place right now, unless there is a humongous resurgence from Jamie Anderson. But still, I was speaking to Jamie yesterday. He's over the moon to be so high up in the championship after some great overall results. And then he's followed by Steffi Helm. Teo Calve now tied with Andre Kurzim after his win yesterday. Shane Brayton currently rounds out the top 10 in the championship. Next up we have Lucas Hahn and then Stefan Faas, Jose Rodriguez, Anthony Janiak. We've kept Anthony Janiak's points on the board. He stands at 13 with René Reiner ahead of Heinrich Clementecker, Martin Gibson and Thomas Robineau scored a point at the beginning of the season, but unfortunately has not been back on track with us since. As you see though, a gorgeous morning here at Le Mans. The trucks are now making their way down. We have qualifying and Superpole coming your way very shortly, so the drivers will go out for a 20-minute qualifying session where everybody will be on track trying to set the fastest time that they can, and then the top 10 qualifiers from that session will then go through into Superpole, where the top 10 will then try and reorganise their positions. Here is a quick look at what happened last night though. We had an amazing time at the humongous truck parade. There were so many amazing machines on the circuit, so many lights, so many horns being sounded. I was lucky enough to be at the top of one of the grandstands and on the top of the media building at the far end of the straight, watching all of this from above. Everybody was loving it, and a lot of people were saying that the only time they ever see the start-finish straight as packed as it was with fans and drivers is normally when the 24-hour race is on here in Le Mans. It's amazing. So many beautiful machines with incredible designs all over them, so many components and accessories and parts. It was just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. But it's moments like these, especially the fireworks display, that you don't always get at other motorsport events around the world, and it really does bring everybody together. And the One Truck Family mantra was certainly on display last night. It was great fun and everybody was absolutely loving it. A top display by the circuit and of course the organisers as well. And it seemed like the fireworks display would never end, and we wished it wouldn't as well. It was fantastic to see. It's a stark contrast too this morning though. It's all very bright and beautiful this morning. There is Norbert Kish making his way past the left-hand side of Jochen Hahn. Jochen's going to be hoping that that's the only time that happens today, but we all know just how strong Norbert is in the first race of the day. As we now ride on board with the Golf Buggy through the paddock towards the holding area at the end of the pit lane, where the trucks will make their way through and then join on to the pit lane itself, and they'll be rumbling their way down past my commentary box shortly, I imagine. Jochen Hahn, I'm just looking at his tally for the season, has 2 race wins overall, 1 pole position which he took for race 3 at the Nürburgring, and he's been on the podium so far this season 15 times, not 13 times, apologies. Norbert Kish scored his 18th podium yesterday, 13th race victory, finished second behind Teo Calve in race 2 after Teo took that fantastic win. And we've been given a 2-minute delay to the start of the session, so nothing too bad really. but just a few more minutes before the green flag will be waved at the end of the pit lane. I've been told that the pre-grid is open, which is the section that they're in now, as the race control messages come through. And they had Stefan Fast. There is Steffi Halm making her way out onto the circuit, followed by John Newell, British truck racing driver that is making his debut in the championship this weekend, followed by Adam Lachko in the number 55 Bagheera ZM Racing Freightliner. Then Shane Brereton, truck 17, big purple Apollo tyres branded MAN. Then Antonio Albertetti. I had a quick catch up with Antonio yesterday evening as he was leaving the circuit. Again, always in high spirits, even after a not so successful result in race 2. Teo Calve had the most successful result in race 2, winning the Promoters Cup and winning it outright as well. Then Jose Rodriguez following on in what is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, his son's truck. Heinrich Clemens Hecker next up in the number 25 Scania, followed by Andre Kurzim's number 11 Iveco. And then now the field has made their way out into the pit lane. Personnel will make their way around as well. There is Jamie Anderson. Had a fantastic fight yesterday. He was praising the battles that were going on yesterday a lot, saying just about how fair it all was. You know, Norbert was very patient behind Jamie. Jamie was very patient behind Teo. And it was just an awesome battle. And it seemed like it was just going to be a case of who cracked first. And in the end, nobody really cracked until the last corner. Jamie just made a little mistake, locked it up, and went straight on. And that gave away second position. And the green flag is waved at the end of the pit lane. And Norbert Kish makes his way out onto the circuit with the championship before him. As mentioned, 80 points the difference in the championship at the moment to Jochen Hahn. After today, or after this race actually, there will only be 70 points left in the championship. So Jochen needs to outscore Norbert Kish by at least 10 points in this race. Now in the championship you get 20 points for finishing first, and you get 15 points for second, then 12, then 10. So Jochen Hahn needs to win this first race with Norbert Kish 5th or lower to take the championship, even just to tomorrow. And then he needs to continue that sort of form in towards Jarama at the end of the season, which is next week. Can't believe it's going to come around that quickly, but next week we are at Jarama. And this day, in about 7 days actually, will be the final racing that we see in 2022 with the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. We just had a quick look there at our wonderful Iveco S-Way Pace Truck, the bio-LNG powered Iveco S-Way, gorgeous machine. We're very grateful to have Iveco's support and have them on board with that gorgeous machine for our Pace Truck of the Championship. And now drivers and teams just making their way around the circuit, becoming familiarised with the conditions, getting everything up to temperature as they need to. And you can see a little bit of weaving going on left and right here. The sun may be out, but the circuit is far from warm. There is quite a cool breeze in the air, and it's still not even 10 AM local time, so there's certainly a lot of sunshine still to come today. Doesn't look like it's going to rain over the course of the day, especially with how the sky is right now. It's a clear sky completely. You see everybody trying to filter into position and get good track position for qualifying. There's Jose Rodriguez. He's behind Heinrich Clemens Hecker and John Newell. Then Andre Kurzim in front of him. Trying to see Jamie Anderson there actually is behind Teo Calve on the track. Kurzim side by side with Shane Brereton. Now they're all trying to get clear track space, but they've only got a couple more corners to sort this out before they go on to fast laps, so a number of them will be holding back here. Across the line in front of us though has come Norbert Kish. He's followed by Jochen Hahn in the number 4 machine, and then Adam Lachko behind him. It's interesting to note actually that Jochen Hahn, while he is second in the championship at the moment, could pretty easily finish inside the top 3, even if Sascha Lenz has a good resurgence towards the end of the season. Jochen's wearing the number 4 this season, and it's the first time, or 2021 was the first time in 10 years that he'd finished lower than 3rd in the championship. Jochen has always been in the top 3 basically since 2011. He's been in the series for 23 years, won it 6 times. And of course, if Norbert Kish does become champion today, he'll be the 3rd most successful driver in the European Truck Racing Championships history. Jochen Hahn has 6 championships to his name. Steve Parish has 5 championships to his name. And Norbert Kish, this man here, would score his 4th title today if he gets it right. And it's very likely that he will. We all know just how fast Norby is. Makes his way out of Garageveld, which is the double apex right-hand hairpin at the bottom of the circuit, up over the crest of the hill, down the long back straight, under the Renault Trucks bridge, and then hard onto the brakes. The left-right chicane, very, very fast. It's all about weight transfer around there in these trucks. That chicane called Chemin aux Boeufs. And it looks fantastic when you watch bike racing around there as well. The way that the bikes move one way then the other, and obviously transfer the weight in their own way, with the rider moving from the left hand side to the right. Excellent to watch. Now look at the amount of steam that is coming off these trucks this early in the morning. It's amazing to see, especially with all of the sunlight bathing them as they come around these final couple of corners. As you saw there, Teo Calvé was under investigation for hitting a penalty marker, i.e. track limits, at turn 3, and his lap time was deleted. Norbert Kish sets the first time of the session and goes ahead and sets a 2 minutes 6.9. 2 minutes 6.912, that is, and he is over a second quicker than Jochen Hahn, nearly 2 seconds quicker than Adam Lachko. And there's one of the penalty markers already in the middle of the road, actually, as Norby comes out of the chicane. Now, we did get told what the lap record was yesterday, actually, thanks to Sean O'Brien of Smart Witness. The wonderful people at Sensata Smart Witness have all of their cameras in each of our trucks around the championship. They use for judicial review. They help out the stewards. They help out just about anybody that needs the footage, basically. They're a brilliant asset to have in the championship and in the campaign. And I have found the lap record time that he sent me yesterday. It was set by Sasha Lenz in 2017, and it was a 2:05.220. I'm pretty sure that we got either close to that or just about may have beaten that yesterday, actually. I'm going to have a look, but still, it was a hell of a race. In the second race especially, the conditions were quite difficult yesterday for the drivers as well, because the circuit remained cold and it didn't really heat up over the course of the day. It dried out, but it did not get any warmer at all. Yeah, the fastest lap in the first race was Norbert Kish, which was a 2:06.690 yesterday. And then in the second, the second race, the fastest times were in the sort of 2:08s and 2:09s, so yeah, nowhere near. Fastest lap of the race yesterday was actually Sasha Lenz, it was a 2:07.9. So just shows you how far off we were. 2:06.912 though. Brilliant time by Norbert Kish. Jochen Hahn just over a second back. Sasha Lenz has gone third fastest. And it's Adam Lachko, Steffi Halm, Antonio Albertetti, Shane Brayton, fastest in the Promoters' Cup at the moment. Jamie Anderson is down in 9th behind Andre Kurzim. And of course, Teo Calvé, as mentioned, has had his time deleted because of track limits. You can see Norbert Kish and a few others will make their way into the pits now. It may not be the most entertaining strategy for everybody watching, but at the end of the day, they've set a fast time and they don't want to mess about any further. Interesting to note as well that Antonio Albertetti is only 1,000th of a second faster than Shane Brayton. Andre Kurzim is only 7,000ths of a second faster than Jamie Anderson. It's incredibly close in the mid-pack. There's Adam Lachko on his way into the pit lane. And it's a number of the usual big hitters that come in early on. And they will effectively just wait the rest of the session out now, because they probably don't need to improve on those times to stay up there. Teo Calvé's cool-down lap in between has counted and gone on the board, but it's obviously showing him 42 seconds down, which isn't a solid representation of the pace that he has. John Newell just crosses the line and carries on. Sasha Lenz has also come into the pit lane. Antonio Albacete has stayed out. Now, he qualified yesterday, I believe, third on the grid for first race. He did. He was third on the grid. So he knows that the pace is there. He knows that there's the capability. There you can see the brakes getting cooled. The water jets spraying cool water onto the brake discs. And when I spoke to Jamie Anderson yesterday about the broken brake disc that they had, he reckoned that it was maybe when the truck was stationary and it was spraying water onto just one part of the disc, and with the tension that it had created, it had cracked it open at the other end. In fact, it wasn't actually Jamie I was speaking to that about. It was Stuart Oliver, who's actually working with John Newell this weekend. Stuart's another driver that's had plenty of years in the British Truck Racing Championship. He's also raced in the European Truck Racing Championship as well. And he's a really good bloke to speak to as well. Really knows his stuff, knows his people, and he's a man that loves the industry. Certainly lives it as well. Out of the final corner comes Antonio Albacete. Does he improve on his previous lap time? He does indeed. Does he ever? Second place provisionally for Albacete. Just as I was looking at Teo Calve's sectors there, can you tell? 207.697 puts Antonio second fastest. Now, of course, that doesn't count and put him second actually on the grid, because all it does is secure him into Superpole a little bit later. Still, they'll be happy with that, and it shows that the pace they've got over some of the other teams on the grid. This is Jose Rodriguez, currently in 10th position, and he needs to stay out there to secure himself as top spot in that top 10 and work hard to go chasing after it. Teo Calve's just come out of the final corner. He's surely going to improve on his previous time, and he does, and Teo Calve goes 4th fastest overall. Fantastic time by Teo at 2 minutes 8.140. 1.2 seconds off the top time. He's faster than Sasha Lenz, Adam Lachko and Steffi Helm as well, to name a few. Jamie Anderson gets inside the top 10, but is now pushed down to the brink. Heinrich Clemens Hecker, I believe, was just behind Teo on track as well. He's just completed a lap time. And Shane Brereton is a driver that's inside the top 10 at the moment, and he is in the pit lane with Christina.
Yesterday, Superpole was not successful for you. How are you dealing with the situation right now?
Yeah, we're still struggling with some technical problems, but it seemed better then. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, as you said, it's always a bit like a miracle. Your team is really working hard throughout the night as well. Yeah,
they have absolutely been fantastic. You know, a lot of head scratching and a lot of work.
Fingers crossed. Thank you very much. Good team effort here at Shane Brereton's truck.
Yes, indeed. As mentioned in the last couple of races, they've had an issue with the throttle that they just haven't seen before. It's a very strange issue where they're anywhere between 0 and 100% throttle, or just about in the middle. It's almost like the throttle spikes on and off all the time, and there's a big curvature in how the throttle is applied. It's very strange. So the engine is obviously jolting back and forth and affecting the weight transfer of the truck, and obviously ruining the traction as well. It's very difficult to drive around a problem like that, because it's not like there's some sort of issue with the handling that you have to sort of compensate for as a driver, and as a human being, you know, you can try and overcome that with applying different techniques. But when it comes down to just an issue with the throttle, and when you're between 0 and 100%, you can't just mash the throttle out of corners. You know, you have to apply it smoothly in a lot of situations so that you can build up the boost gradually, get all the power down, and not spin up the rears by just mashing the throttle into the floor. We all know that's not quite how it works in motorsport. It's all about smooth and tidy application of inputs. Now, Teo Calve was under investigation again on that previous lap for penalty markers and track limits, but it has been deemed as something where there is no further action needed. Stefan Faas is now under investigation for track limits. He's outside of the top 10 at the moment, though. So too is this man, Jose Rodriguez, driving his son's usual truck that's been racing in the French Truck Racing Championship. I remember he was incredibly dominant in that series at the Nürburgring earlier in the year, where that championship was part of the Mittlerhain Cup and supported the ADAC International Truck Grand Prix, for which we were the headline act. So Calvé can be very pleased with himself with that lap time. Solid stuff. Puts him in a very good position for Superpole. Lots of confidence from the young man. He's got John Newell in front of him coming down the pit lane. I think John's decided to call it a day in the session. There's still a couple of drivers out on the circuit though. Jamie Anderson's gone around for another lap as well. He seems to think that he's still in danger, and rightly so, actually, being in 10th position. He's only 1/10 of a second faster than Rodriguez, 2/10 faster than Newell, so he's certainly under threat at this point in the day. And if he doesn't make it through to Superpole, that would be quite the amazing story, really, because he's been so successful this season. He had a hell of a turnaround after Slovakia Ring. Here we see Heinrich Clemens Hecker in the Scania. Had a quick chat with him this morning, just a quick catch up, and he's in good spirits ahead of today. He's enjoying being out here at the Bugatti Le Mans circuit. So far we just have a couple more trucks making their way around, just trying to take those extra tenths out of their lap times and potentially get back in. There is Fabien Calvé with his son Theo. Fabien was absolutely overjoyed yesterday, bless him, when his son won that second race. And he was presenting all of the fun last night as well. At the Nürburgring we usually play a game called Go and Stop, where the two drivers go head to head in a long straight line drag race and then have to hit a series of bollards and basically only hit the first bollard and not knock over the other two. So it's a test of late braking and commitment from the drivers. But yesterday here on the main straight at Le Mans, just here where Heinrich Clemens Hecker is coming out of now, they actually had a slalom competition where they then have to hit the cones at the end as well. It was very entertaining and a lot of good fun. There was road truck and race trucks taking part in that. And that happened after the parade and ahead of the amazing firework display that rounded out the evening. Very lucky to be witnessing things like that and join the championship on their epic European tour. And long may it continue, if you ask me. John Newell then making his way round the long left-hander, maybe just came in to adjust tyre pressures, just check some little technical details on the truck and make sure everything is running fine before he goes out for another couple of laps. He's still got 4 minutes on the clock yet, as there is a hell of an improvement from Jamie Anderson. Wow, goes third fastest overall, a purple Sector 1. Now we noted yesterday that Jamie was very fast in Sector 1 actually. At a lot of points he was setting purple sectors in qualifying there. He's done a 2:07.791 and this first sector was a 58.640. That's an entire 10th of a second faster than Norbert Kish in the first sector alone. Very impressive. Him and Theo are locked in a fantastic fight for the Promoters Cup this year. Shane Brereton is still in third in that as well, and he's up there. He's still able to get amongst it points wise. Just needs a bit of a poor race meeting from either of the other two to really haul some big points back now, with only 6 races left in the championship. It's looking tough, but if anyone can keep the determination to do it, I'll tell you what, it's Shane. He's a very driven and determined bloke, certainly knows what he wants. So too does John Newell as well, and he's been mentioning the track time that's so important here at a place like Bugatti, or the Bugatti circuit at Le Mans, I should say. It's not a track that you often see on many calendars around the world, but it's great entertainment when we come here. And it was last year in very mixed conditions, and even over the course of this weekend as well. It's been very good fun. There is the NWT machine then making its way through the Dunlop curve up to the top. At the Dunlop chicane, you can see the tyre marks yesterday where Sasha Lenz went off the circuit in a very scary opening section of the second race of the weekend. And there is Stefan Fass, just going round Virage des Musées. Long left-hander in the first sector of the lap. Heinrich Clemens Hecker has just crossed the line, and it looked like that was an out lap for him, or a cool-down lap essentially. It wasn't a full flying lap, because it was nearly half a minute slower than the provisional pole position time at the minute. Looks like Stefan has backed out of his fast lap as well here. He's still got 2 minutes to get round, so he's just winding it up, I'm sure, for one last attempt. Here's Jamie Anderson just making his way round now. The only right-hand drive truck on the field, or in the field, I should say. It shared its livery last season with Sascha Lenz's SL Truck Sport 30 team. Still similar liveries this year as well, but Sascha's gone for a slightly bigger design with the sort of paint splats down the side of it. You can see Jamie's team there just waiting for him at the end of the pit lane. And as far as the first part of qualifying goes, that is a job well done. There was no further action, by the way, on Stefan Faas for his earlier infringement or potential infringement with penalty markers and track limits, but he has actually been put under investigation again. So he's obviously pushing the limits, trying to get these fast times on the board. So too is this man, Heinrich Clemens Hecker. He's currently 14th. Stefan Faas has actually come into the pits, apparently. Oh, here is a look at what potentially looks like a huge lockup from Heinrich Clemens Hecker, but that's just a massive amount of steam coming off the brakes here in these early morning conditions. The drivers have control over water jets that cool down the brakes actively while they are racing, trying to keep them around or below 450 degrees Celsius. Yes, 450 degrees Celsius. Huge slide there by Heinrich Clemens Hecker. That's definitely knocking down a penalty marker, and I don't think that he could argue that one with the stewards, to be honest with you. It was very impressive drift all the same, but I think that this is going to be his final fast lap if he doesn't already back out of it. John Newell seems to be on a fast one already. I'm going to try and look at his sector times, see roughly what he sets. His last sector was his fastest, actually, which is a 59.723, faster than Stefan Faas and Heinrich Clemens Hecker at the minute. And it's not an improvement in the first sector, but he is very close to his fastest time. Makes his way through Garage Vert. Double right-hander, stays just inside the white lines. I think it was still a wheel on the curb which would have counted. That was a big old push by John Newell, wasn't it, as he went through there. I'll keep my eye on the sector times. Jose Rodriguez crosses the line again, and that was effectively a cool down in lap, that one. Over 3 minutes around the circuit, so it didn't go to plan for him. John Newell really pushing the limits out round there on the exit of the chicane into another S-bend towards the end of the lap. It's a 36.876 in the middle sector, and that isn't an improvement either for John. He's not far off his best times though, so I'm intrigued to see whether he can just eke it out in the final sector here and just get a tidy exit out of this final double right-hander, which is effectively one big long hairpin in these trucks. Look at the way it leans around that final corner. Across the line he goes. He's got to beat a 209.668, and as he crosses the line, the time is a 209.683, so he's almost identical in lap time to his best. But unfortunately for John, he finishes outside of the top 10 and does not make it through into Superpole. And neither does that man there, Jose Rodriguez. He just missed out yesterday as well, actually, qualifying in 10th position behind Shane Burton. The driver that made it through yesterday that hasn't today is actually Stefan Faas. He has swapped with Shane Burton effectively. Everybody else had a similar session. But Stefan Faas qualifying in that one in 13th place. He won't be too chuffed with that because he was showing some good pace by the end of yesterday. But everybody can have their good days and have their bad days, so you never know. It's very close in this championship as well. That's one thing you have to remember. It's so close. We may have 14 trucks on the grid, but they are remarkably close to one another in pace. There can be days where certain drivers just shine above others that you would normally see them battling with. So now we wait for everyone to make their way back around. We've got Jose Rodriguez coming through in the final sector here. John Newell still going through the first sector apparently on his cool down lap. And then you can see Heinrich Clemens Hecker making his way out of the end of the pit lane. And everyone else will try to make their way back through.
La passion du camion.
Now that made me jump a lot. Anyway, we've got the trucks lining up at the end of the pit lane. And these are the 10 drivers that were fastest in that session that will be heading out into Superpole. So this will determine the top 10 positions on the grid now. So they've all got through to this point, but they now need to improve on what they've done and try to have a better time of it. And these are the lap times that will count for these drivers now. You can hear the music and the partying still going on in the background. It's always a lively scene here at Le Mans, no matter what happens. It is very lively indeed. It's a very fun environment to be in. And the speaker system on the front of the building, which we're in here on the left hand side, is very powerful, I tell you that. Whenever the presenters were talking last night during the slalom and go and stop competition, and even when the music gets played on the warm-up laps and during podium presentations and so on, it rumbles the entire building. It's fantastic. We've been told that there is going to be a green flag at 10:17 local time, which is less than a minute's time, so we'll be getting the drivers out soon. There is Jane Rona Bigler on the right hand side. I was telling her about the different words I've learned in different languages the other day, and how the Germans say Gänsehaut for goosebumps, as we call it, but it effectively means chicken skin, which I think is actually a better description than goosebumps. But Jane was telling me that in Swiss it's actually Hühnerhaut. I think I've got that right, and I'm sure later she'll roast me on whether I've got that wrong or not. But still, thank you, Jane, for the Swiss language lesson, the very brief Swiss language lesson. Anyway, the trucks make their way back out onto the circuit now. Norbert Kish, Antonio Albacetti, Jamie Anderson, Jochen Hahn, Teo Calve, and then behind him is Sasha Lenz, Adam Lachko, Steffi Halm, Shane Burton and Andre Kurzim, making up our top 10. So the ones that we lost from that session then will now make their way back into the pit lane, and they will wonder what might have been in just missing out on Superpole. And now Norby cracks on with it, goes straight on with it. And sometimes you see these drivers have a bit of a chilled out first lap. And they just get everything up to temperature bit by bit. You know, do a bit of weaving on the brakes, off the brakes, and just get the temperatures all in the right sort of window. But other times it's actually better to just go for it straight off the bat, just absolutely rag it. And it looks like Norbert Kish is not wasting any time. It's 2 minutes a lap here at Le Mans. And of course we only have a 10-minute Superpole session, so it's very important for the drivers to get as much time as they can, and that's why the first part of qualifying can be very important, because this session now, the way they're let out of the pit lane is in the order from the first part of qualifying. So you do get track position effectively from that first part. Some of the drivers not too worried about that. Other drivers, of course, think the world of it, and that's the thing with racing drivers. They all have different priorities and different concerns when it comes to the procedural side of racing, and that's why it makes it so exciting, isn't it? There is Steffi Halm. She had a bit of a rough day yesterday, did Steffi. A lot of contact in the first race meant that she had quite a bit of work to do in the second race. She started from right in the back of the grid for race 2, but tried to work her way through the pack and avoid any potential incidents that went on. Norbert Kish has just come past the commentary box then, flies across the line to get on with his first timed lap of the weekend, as we see Adam Lachko going around the final couple of corners now, right in the middle of the pack, ready to do battle with those around him. Now it is all down to just watching the sectors, seeing who can set the fastest first sector, especially one of the most tricky parts of the circuit. Norbert Kish makes his way down now through the long sweeping right-hander, which saw quite the incident yesterday. Somehow there was not more contact and not more of an incident, but that's down at Virage de la Chapelle. It looked like it was Antonio Albacete and Adam Lachko got literally hitched together yesterday and went sideways as one. Both spun around in front of the pack, but somehow nobody clattered into them. But here is Big Red Baloo, driven by Norbert Kish, the gorgeous red Revèche Racing MAN. You can tell that Norby is going to push as hard as he can today. He's going to try and put this championship to bed as soon as possible, so we can enjoy the rest and of course the race meeting at Jarama without the worry that he could lose the 2022 title. So as long as he finishes ahead of Jochen Hahn in this first race today, he is the 2022 champion. And even if he doesn't, and if he finishes 5th with Jochen Hahn winning the race, he could still clinch the title in the second race of the day, the final race of the weekend. And look at this here, one hand all the way around this final section. It's amazing to watch. We saw a bit of it yesterday when he was on board trying to chase down Jamie Anderson, and it just looked so easy to control. It's not easy at all, but Norby made it look very easy in those moments of the race where we rode on board. Across the line he goes then to set the first lap of Superpole, and it is a 2:05.743. That's a very quick time indeed. About half a second off the lap record, but it's purple sectors all the way around. Antonio Albacete does a 2:07.0. He's faster than Jamie Anderson as Jochen Hahn jumps up into second place now with a 2:06.9. So the gap is just under 1.2 seconds from Norbert Kish to the rest of the field. Sasha Lenz goes second fastest though, 2:06.5 for him, 0.8 of a second off. Steffi Halm sets a time of a 2:08.110. She gets beaten by Kursim, but is faster than Shane Brereton, who is currently the 3rd fastest Promoters Cup driver on the grid. And that is denoted by the fact that he has that little letter P next to his position. That basically tells you which of the drivers are chrome rated drivers, as we say. It's kind of like Pro and Am, and that tells you which ones are in the Promoters Cup category. There's Jochen Hahn, 6-time champion Jochen, featured on our programme yesterday, talking about the wonderful HVO hydro-treated vegetable oil diesel that these trucks run on. It's 100% renewable, and it has been a massive step forward in the sustainability of this championship. And Jochen was explaining the amazing process and of course how it works with the trucks and the way that they can be developed to work with such a fuel. And of course it extends the life of this sort of racing and this championship by a massive amount, and it does not affect how exciting the racing is or the performance of the trucks either. And at this moment as well, while we have a bit of a chilled moment while they all come in, I must give a quick shout out to Blair Jacobs, who's in New Zealand and staying up to watch the broadcasting. He actually pointed out yesterday that I mentioned that the trucks have 5,000 foot-pounds of torque, which was an incorrect figure. They actually have 5,000 Newton meters of torque, and he was very quick to correct me on that one. But thanks for watching, Blair, all the way over in New Zealand. Just shows the reach of the championship, doesn't it? But he was saying that some of the truck spotters are watching and they know their figures, and it's very easy for me to overstep the mark like that. That's the thing. I'm easily scrutinised, but I'll always accept when I'm wrong. Jamie Anderson here then in the number 33 machine, currently 6th fastest at the moment, only just ahead of Teo Calve, his Promoters Cup rival. Out the final corner he goes, and then across the legendary start-finish line here at Le Mans. Builds his way up the start-finish straight. You can already see that there's big crowds around at the sides of the circuit. The grandstands are starting to fill opposite me. Jamie now makes his way through the Dunlop chicane. And then back down the hill again. Just keeping my eye on the sectors from other drivers. There's nothing green coming up on the screen. It's all, at the moment, it's all yellow and white, meaning that the drivers are not improving on their overall times or even sector times at this point. Still no sector times improving, although actually I say that Antonio Albacetti's improved on his first sector. He's done a 58.534. And Jamie's just beaten his as well, 58.6. And we've had a lap time deleted for Andrei Kurzim, so you're going to see his time disappear off the board on the left hand side any second now. That was turn 14, the track limits at the end of turn 14, which is right near the end of the lap. He's been a naughty boy there and hit the penalty marker apparently, and that's been looked at and determined as an abuse of track limits. Although that might have been actually his middle lap, you know, rather than his fast lap that he had. We've got more improvements coming on the board now actually. It's starting to go green here. We've got Antonio Albacetti, Adam Lachko, Jamie Anderson, Teo Calve, Steffi Halm and Shane Brereton all improving in sectors 1 and 2. Keep my eye on Teo Calve's time compared to Jamie Anderson, of course, the two of them in the Promoters' Cup. Teo is 2 tenths off at the moment in sector 1. As Antonio Albacetti improves and goes third fastest with a 2:06.7. Anderson goes up to 5th place. Now Calve was a 10th faster, that's mad, he was actually exactly 2 tenths slower in sector 1 and exactly a 10th faster in sector 2 compared to Jamie Anderson. Jamie's gone 5th fastest with a 2:07.2 then. Who's going to cross the line next? Jochen Hahn goes 2nd fastest at 2:06.3. And he's had that time removed right at the end apparently for penalty markers, so you may see it disappear off the board on the left hand side. And Teo Calve goes faster than Jamie Anderson at 2:07.126. It was a fantastic final sector by Teo, gains 2.5 tenths than Jamie right near the end. And then there's more improvement as well as Adam Lachko goes up into 4th position ahead of Antonio Albacetti. But I believe we will see Jochen Hahn's time deleted, because that was at 10:26 and 59 seconds local time, and at 10 minutes 27 local time it was checkered flag. So I'm pretty sure that Jochen's time will get removed. He still stands on the timing tower on the left hand side, and it's still on our timing screen as a 2:06.393. And we'll have to wait and see, I guess. But there is Norbert Kish, who takes yet another pole position this season. That is pole position number 13 for Norby. And he's well on his way now to clinch the 2022 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship title with more performances like that. And this is a hell of an in-lap from him, isn't it? He's really pushing it. Either that or he's actually going for a fast lap here. And you know what he is? He's actually done purple sectors 1 and 2. So far he's over 6 tenths clear of Jochen Hahn, and that's a lap that will get deleted, I'm very sure. Everybody else is on in laps, but Norby is pushing like mad. Antonio Albacetti improves. He's now 4th ahead of Adam Lachko. And here comes Norbert Kish around the final corner. 2 purple sectors at the minute, and he's pushing like mad, and I think he's going to do it. Across the line he goes, and it is a 2:05.628. So he extends his advantage even further. Amazing stuff by Norbert Kish. Shows you exactly why he is triple champion and reigning champion as well. He won the series in 2014 and 15, and then won it again last year in 2021, and continues to show us exactly why he has done so. Now the timing is still showing Jochen Hahn at the top here. Well, I say at the top, in 2nd place at least. There's Adam Lachko going past his teammate Teo Calve towards the end of the lap as we round out our session. And it does seem to me like Jochen Hahn is going to keep that time according to the timing screen. A 2:06.393 stays on the board. I'm confused by that one, but we'll have to wait and see for the grid a little bit later on when that gets released. It may just be that they amend it afterwards and reverse the time. Normally they do it during the session. And that was very impressive by Norby right at the end there, wasn't it? There is Sasha Lenz hoping to try and keep this championship fight alive, but there are not enough points for him to do this. Basically, if Norby just scores 1 point today, that is championship done for Sascha Lenz. Actually, it's already done. Apologies, no, because with the points from today's race, yeah, no matter what he can do now, it is down to just Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn, unfortunately, because he's already got enough points to win it, and Sascha cannot score more than Norby no matter what now. But still, it's a beautiful day here at Le Mans. We look forward to the 2 races that we have coming up today. There's some of the trucks from the French Truck Racing Championship, the number 21 Freightliner of Rafael Sousa, as they wait for our session to be completed. They will make their way round Sascha Lenz pulls into Parc Fermé. Just trying to find our schedule for the rest of the day. I did get sent it this morning. Thank you to the wonderful Andreas Ahn that keeps us all in check here on this side. Does a wonderful job of it, and we have a good laugh working together as well. The next show will be starting about 10 to 2 local time here in France, and then the final race of the weekend here in Le Mans from Circuit Bugatti will be at 25 to 5 local time this afternoon. So it's quite a long day for the championship, but there's a few hours in between each race for all the drivers. And I've been told that the relative time, the relevant lap for Jochen Hahn was the one that was getting deleted for penalty markers, but the one that he set at the end is the one that's going to be kept. So that'll be why it didn't disappear. There is Sascha Lenz jumping out after securing 3rd on the grid. And you can see now that there is a bit of a chill out over the final moments of the session. And Sascha Lenz is actually now with Christina for a quick chat.
Absolutely. So you could be one of 2 persons stopping Norbert Kish for winning the title in the 3rd race. I know you're focusing on your team, P3 right now. Are you happy with that, or should have been better?
I think we can drive better. I make one small mistake in the last lap. I was faster with my time lap what I have. But anyway, now we drive race, and then we hope we can overtake Jochen.
The conditions today are, I would say, they are perfect. You would consider that too as a race driver?
Yeah, it's nice. You see more people come to the circuit, and we have a sunshine, so why not for us?
How do you forget about yesterday and keep focusing on Sunday?
Correct.
Bye-bye. That's how we do it. And that's how race driving works. Just the last race is the last race, and the next race is the next race. And it would be number 3, Chaz. So let's have a look at the standings. And Joachim Eberts, of course, you too.
Yes, indeed. Sascha Lenz, he always says it how it is, and that's why we love him. We absolutely love him. He's always a good lad to speak to. Norbert Kish then, fastest with that amazing time at the end, 2:05.628, not far off the lap record around here. Jochen Hahn will line up alongside him on the front row, trying to make any opportunity that he can to stop Norbert from taking the title today and take the fight to Jarama. Sascha Lenz is 3rd ahead of Jamie Anderson, 4th on the grid. Fantastic performance by Jamie in that session. Antonio Albacete will line up alongside Adam Lachko on row 3. Then it's going to be Theo Calve and Steffi Halm on row 4 ahead of Andre Kurzim and Shane Brereton, who made it into Superpole once again. He rounds out the top 10 in the field today. We then have Jose Rodriguez and John Newell on row 6 ahead of Stefan Faas, and then Heinrich Clemens-Hecker bringing quite the squad to the grid by the look of it for the remaining positions, but he of course will line up in 14th spot on the grid. There's going to be a fantastic mix of drivers though right up there in that one. There's a very happy Jamie Anderson. He's absolutely over the moon with our cameraman Lewis as he brings the truck back, and that is a good day's work so far for Jamie. Of course, it's going to be very tough and very argy-bargy at the top end of the field as these drivers put in all of the strong efforts that they can to try and take any points possible away from the Hungarian sensation that is Norbert Kish. Lewis giving everybody a wave in the paddock. Always good to see the fans walking around. They get great access to see the race trucks and the teams in any of the paddocks that we have all around Europe. And that is going to be the end of our broadcast here this morning. But thank you very much for listening to me. I'm sure I'll be a little bit more energetic later on when I've maybe had a drink. But thank you for joining me, Chaz Draycott, and I'm going to hand back down to Christina now, who will round us out.
Thank you very much, Chaz. Yes, it's been a long night for everyone. Lots of fans were partying yesterday. We saw some pictures earlier. What a great atmosphere here at Le Mans. We are completely enjoying it. We're here at the Innovation Cup. You see the Volvo Electric behind me. You also see the Mercedes-Benz. The new technology is always provided to the main goal, net zero, which is what we are aiming to. Beautiful machines here. You can have a look closely at them. This is the Renault truck also standing here, the E-Tech. Beautiful from the outside, but more beautiful from the inside, of course. And we also do have a Gaussin here, successfully completed the 2022 Dakar Rally with its H2 racing truck. Currently not here, it's on the move. But we saw it yesterday, absolutely beauty, and we try to show you it later. So speaking of later, we had race number 3, where we might see the champion, Norbert Kish, if he is finishing the race before Jochen Hahn and Sascha Lenz. And we listened to Sascha Lenz. He's in a fighting mode, of course. This is race driving. So crunch time here at the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Please tune in later. Thank you very much. Salute to Ebi and Chaz. That was it from Le Mans so far. I'm Christina Rahn, and we're going to see you later. And I'll have a closer look at those beauties here and get some information about future technologies. Bye-bye. This is the legendary circuit of Le Mans.